Hello, everybody. I got Hawk here, Cynthia Freeland, Greg Rosenthal. Should be noted that one of the producers put a booster in Hawk's chair, and he is refusing to sit in it. And you know what? I respect that.
I would not.
I respect that.
I would not have good posture on this show.
Nope, none of us will, because these chairs are impossible to sit in. Should be noted, we're all rocking some pretty sweet sneaks on this show. Somebody said I look like a grandpa today, and then you followed it up and said you agree. So.
Yeah, you look like my grandpa specifically.
Okay, we're off to a great start.
Heinz Rosenthal wore some of those pants, too.
Okay,
Nice.
just kidding. Anything you would like to add?
I don't think you look like a grandpa.
Thank you very much, and that's why she's my girl. Okay, let's break down some games that are coming up this weekend. We're going to start with Bucs and Rams. Tom Brady's first ever game in L.A. Bucs are a 1.5-point road favorite. Hawk, I'm going to start with you. What do you like here?
I like the Buccaneers. I got them winning by 3. I got 28-25. The key to victory for the Buccaneers is stopping Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a beast, and everyone knows how good he is, but I don't feel like they give him enough credit because this guy is great after the catch. He has incredible routes, great change of direction. He can go deep. The Buccaneers' pass defense is ranked 30th, so again, the key to victory is minimizing what Cooper Kupp does and his effect on this offense, and then they'll come away with the victory.
That's the key to the game. Tom Brady actually watches this show, so write that down, Tom and Bucs. That's the key to the game. Cynthia, what do you like?
Well, when I look at this one, I'm kind of talking about the same point, but I'm going to talk about the front of that defense. Because anytime I get a chance to talk about Aaron Donald, I'm going to take the chance
like
to
that.
talk about
I like that.
Aaron
We love
Donald. Nobody gets double or triple teamed more often than Aaron Donald, and yet he still has the most pressures since the beginning of 2020.
He's a beast.
So when you really think about how this goes together, fits together with the front and the back, stopping Cooper Kupp becomes a lot easier when what?
You got pressure.
Yeah. So look, it's all about trying to figure out here, like how does it? Oh, I'm supposed to tell you my pick. I got it. Yeah, my pick is the Bucs. It's the Bucs.
We're caffeinated. We're ready. It's a Friday, baby.
I really wanted to build it up.
Oh, you have a close game,
know?
27-25.
Yeah,
I like
a 2-point game.
Okay.
Close game.
Not quite a thread the needle game, which is tough at 1.5
Right, the
points.
thread the needle.
I have the Buccaneers winning by 3 points. I don't like it when we're all parking in the same garage. My point is similar to yours about Aaron Donald, but it's that Tom Brady hasn't faced any pressure this year. Matthew Stafford hasn't faced any pressure this year. According to PFF, the 2 least pressured quarterbacks in the league per drop back. The offensive lines are playing outstanding, but I trust the Bucs to get home a little better. I think the talent for Tampa up front is better. Tristan Wirf's been struggling a little bit, but keep an eye on my boy, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
Your boy.
He added a little dash to his name at some point. He was Joe Tryon in the draft process. He's good. I think he can get some pressure on Matthew Stafford. JPP is not going to play in this game, so he'll be playing a lot.
Okay, I have the opportunity to make this interesting and maybe choose a little bit of an upset, but I'm not going to do that because until Tom Brady starts looking like a human being, I'm going with the Bucs. This is something that I saw on Twitter. I want to see what you guys think of this. Tom Brady is now 14 touchdown passes away from throwing more TDs in his 40s than his 20s. I'm like a month away from turning 30, and I'm already seeking out the elevators in this building so I don't have to walk upstairs. Like, who is more physically better in their 40s and their 20s? I'm not betting against that.
Here's the thing, though. You just, said how young you were when you're the youngest person here.
I'm just saying, I'm starting to hurt.
Please.
I'm also a year from 30, Rachel.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I understand.
I should have read the room. Okay, move on. Let's move to the next game. Aaron Rodgers back in the Bay Area to take on the Niners. Home team favored by 3. Cynthia, what do you like here?
Oh, I'm going to start with the score this time because
we love
this is
we love that.
Show where we pick
Keep us on our toes.
So I actually have the upset. I have the Packers winning this game 25-24. I really do think it's going to be close because when I look at this Packers O-line, I am a little bit concerned. No David Bakhtiari is a problem. And Aaron Rodgers has been under more pressure with him, and obviously we saw him throw more interceptions. But this is one I think Aaron Rodgers and his petty meter has circled and then
I love this.
And then,
Why is that?
I love a petty meter.
Because, obviously there's some history there with, that area and the choices and the quarterback and the chip on his shoulder and the drama of it all.
I like it when the numbers lady just goes totally motivation.
Sometimes it goes beyond the
numbers here that are coming up later, so I'm just saving that for later.
Oh, there you go.
This is how we do the show.
Speaking from her heart
TV.
this time.
I think you could go petty and flip it the other way, and that you could have the 49ers win this game because it's a little Kyle Shanahan over little brother Matt LaFleur, who he really took care of a few years ago in the NFC Championship. And I think this is the game that he's been waiting to break out Trey Lance. Like, he wants to show, I got the fancy scheme. I got Trey Lance. I'm looking at this Packers defense, and I'm seeing they have kind of new scheme disease where everyone's asking, like, oh, who you got? Who you got? Joe Barry's defense in Green Bay is not really going. If you throw Trey Lance in that outside zone into that scheme, I think you can have a great running game this week against Green Bay. They've got problems passing and running. I think maybe he's even been holding Trey Lance back for this moment.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know. I don't know if I dig the Trey Lance,
You don't believe?
reveal.
And Sir
versus
Lancelot?
LaFleur. I don't know. I
just
It's
came
not
up with
versus
that.
LaFleur. It's versus Joe
Just
Barry
came up
in that Packers defense.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I like the point of Shanahan versus LaFleur because, as we know, LaFleur came up through this offense under Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
And it's always kind of been this, master versus protege relationship. And even the record kind of reflects that. But I'm looking at this 49ers passing game. Not only because of the way that Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel scheme up the pass and the run, but also this Packers D-line. Like, they weren't getting pressure this year. They didn't get their first sack until the third quarter of last game versus the Lions, and even that was a drop ball by Jared Goff. So if it doesn't matter who's at quarterback, Trey Lance or Garoppolo, if you do not get to him, he will pass it all over the field with this offense.
I'm going to go Packers here, too. And, Cynthia, I love the petty meter. I feel like there's a lot of chatter. Aaron Rodgers was looking more like Aaron Rodgers, but he did it against the Lions, so I still feel like people are – oh, sorry. I know that you're –
Again,
I know that you're
it doesn't offend me.
But I think that people are still like, relax, you did it against the Lions. But I like Aaron Rodgers here. I know that he is good on 5 days or less rest. He's 19-5, 59 passing touchdowns. But what I want – listen, you guys said all the smart things. Let's move on to something dumb and important. Aaron Rodgers said he's growing his hair out for his Halloween costume. And my question is, what is the dang Halloween costume? I think we've got some Photoshops okay. The dude, I believe he actually wore this sweater at a press conference. What do you think?
That's just him.
This is how he dresses. Okay, so the dude is one option. The next one, we know he's a big Game of Thrones fan. I feel like this is a little dated. Okay, I think it's too far gone. And then the last one, personal favorite of mine, is he's going to dress up as his wifey-to-be. He did say that it was a hero of his that he's dressing up as. What do you guys think? Who's he going as?
I'm mad that I don't know it. None of those references.
Wait, what?
I mean, I know Game of Thrones. I've never watched an
I
episode.
saw
my
a joke
Lord.
that he now looks like Nicolas Cage playing Aaron Rodgers in a movie, and I
love
can't
this.
get that out of my mind. So
I love
I'm
that
saying
for
Nicolas
him.
Cage.
Okay, we talk about important things on this show. It is important to remember that. Let's get to some real important things. Let's dive deeper on Rodgers and do the math. Cynthia, what do you got?
Okay, so when I look at this Aaron Rodgers number, there is a strong indicator that he's going to pass for a nice, hefty number. He's had 300-plus passing yards in each of his last 2 games against San Francisco, with 305 yards and 4 touchdowns in the last matchup. That was Week 9, 2020. And by the way, Next Gen Stats shows Aaron Rodgers leads the NFL with 847 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 interception ratio on deep passes outside the numbers, which is an area where San Francisco allows 15.1 passing yards per attempt. So it seems like 276.5. That seems LOW.
There you go. All right. I like it. Sure to be a love fest when the Eagles and Cowboys get together Sunday night. Dallas by 3 in this one. Greg, what do you like?
I am going with the Eagles for the second straight week. They might be the team that I keep getting wrong over and over.
But you just got to keep with
Yeah, I
it.
got him right the first
I
week,
respect
28-27 on Monday night, and it's because of that defensive line. Javon Hargrave doesn't get a lot of national pop, but to me, he is playing as well as any defensive tackle not named Aaron Donald right now. It is a big group of men. If you want to sound smart, like you know a lot about football, just give Javon Hargrave and interior defensive tackles some love. I know they lost Brandon Graham, so that hurts their defensive line absolutely, but they're still pretty deep there. Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett. I like this group up front.
Okay, you're sticking with it.
I'm going on the other side of that. I'm picking the Cowboys 28-20. But I'm also looking at the run game for the Cowboys. Between Tony Pollard, Zeke Elliott, they rushed for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns a week ago. Yes, Hargrave is balling, and they only let up 117 yards. But that's the matchup that I'm looking for, and I feel like this Cowboys team is getting to a point where this run game is starting to feel like it used to a couple years ago, especially with the threat of Dak Prescott and what he can do in the passing game.
These aren't the Chargers, though.
True. True.
When I
I
look
did
at
read
this-
that it was the Eagles.
It's the Eagles. Yeah, got it. Well, when it's Cowboys-Eagles, okay, so I have 29-24 in this matchup. The Cowboys they did me well last week, so I'll go back to that note. But really, what the math says that 5-point win for the Cowboys. But I do want to talk about how we've seen Jalen Hurts do a really good job using his legs, the scrambles, the obvious situation where he can see kind of running back like hold, which has made a huge difference. And I still think this entire offense is really built around Devontae Smith, which means if you're looking for a fantasy kind of option, that's the only one I would really target in this matchup.
I think that's something that we learned last week from Hawk is when you actually are physically present at a game, you just like have a better perspective.
It looks different.
You're smarter.
You see it better.
Somehow, I was at this game, the Cowboys and the Chargers game. Cowboys defense looked pretty dang good. I like the Cowboys in this one. Their home opener, the first time Oh! Hold on. This is a picture of me and Cynthia with Jerry Jones, and I did not give this. I for sure did not give this to the producers. This is not a brag.
This is
not a brag in any way. Jerry, I do think that your Cowboys are going to play really well at home for their home
That's
opener.
what he was telling us right there.
He was telling us, if
he's
you
like,
don't
we're going to do really well.
My boys, you're going to have some trouble.
Right.
He did.
You want to keep your job? Choose the
He
Cowboys.
specifically mentioned you, actually.
Yeah, I knew he did.
Yeah, I know that you guys are tight. All right, we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
That's where he's looking. That's where he's throwing. Mike Williams caught touchdown.
Next on Game Day View, who are we taking in that AFC West battle between Herbert and Mahomes? Plus, can the Raiders keep the car running against the Dolphins? Those picks and Cynthia's individual projections are after this timeout.
Welcome back to Game Day View. We are hanging out with our gigantic bowl of chopped salad that I just noticed on commercial break. Welcome back to the show. We are breaking down some games this upcoming weekend. Let's talk Chargers and Chiefs. Justin and the Bolts in KC to take on Mahomes and the Chiefs, who are favored by a touchdown. Hawk, what do you like?
I am going with the Chiefs. I have them 34-28. What I'm looking for is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think this is going to be a bounce-back game for him. Bounce-back game because he had a huge, colossal fumble a week ago, and I know he's hungry. And this is one of those games. Again, he's playing against the Chargers. To Greg's earlier point, they're not very good against the run. They let up 180 yards to Pollard and Zeke a week ago. I can see this being one of those games where the Chiefs rely heavily on the run. You only see them once every year, similar to how they did against the Bills a year ago on Thursday Night Football.
I can confirm that about the Chargers, by the way, because I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there. Confirmed. Cynthia, what do you like?
When I look at this game, I have the Chiefs winning 31-24. The interesting part, so Chris Jones, I just looked at the injury report. Chris Jones is questionable, but he has switched now to the edge. He's playing a different position. So I think this is the situation where we see him having like his coming out party. Like we really see his impact in this matchup. There are some missing pieces along that O-line for the Chargers. And Justin Herbert, although in his second year and looking really good, and this is not a knock on him, he hasn't seen all the different looks that Steve Spagnuolo can throw out yet, especially moving Chris Jones around, the little chess pieces that, you know, Giants fans can tell you what that looks like too.
I feel like Chiefs fans, though, haven't seen the Steve Spagnuolo defense that they expect. That's why I got the Chargers keeping it close. They're underdogs by 7 points in this game. That feels disrespectful.
Yeah,
so I got
it's
a 5-point game. In my head, it's more like a 3. It's disrespectful to Justin Herbert because he can do anything. He can come from behind. He can get a conversion on 3rd and 15. He can throw a ball 45 yards on a straight line. Bam!
Man crush.
That's the best throw I've ever seen. It was overturned by penalty, but I'm just in
the history of football.
Here's another one. 40 yards.
God, another one?
Deep out to the other hash. Have you ever seen that?
Never
Andy Dalton's not throwing that
I saw it in person.
Andy Dalton's just catching strays for no reason.
I don't know why. That's your guy. He can do anything. I think these are the best 2 quarterbacks just in terms of pure like arm talent I've ever seen.
I really like Justin Herbert, and I'm with you, Greg. I think that they keep it closer. I think it's disrespectful. These guys in one-score games are 8-17 in the last, year and last 2 games, and they keep it close. They can manage to keep it close, but I feel like the Chiefs don't let them cross that finish line. Let's move to this next game. Dolphins-Raiders. Dolphins in Vegas. No, not the ones at Mandalay. Raiders favored by 3.5. Cynthia, what do you like?
Okay, well, 26-21 is what the model comes up with, but there's no Tua. There's lots of injuries. This could be a sleepier game than that. I don't love it, but I do think a nice big win. When I look to see that Miami does have good corners and Vegas does play a very high-risk, high-reward offense. So if they're going to take those risks and have Ruggs run 25 miles per hour on every single route, these corners will slow them down a bit. So it's high risk, high reward. I think the corners have a little something to say about that one in this one.
I have a closer score. This is a thread the needle game for me. I think maybe this
truly makes no sense.
I don't know.
I don't think that looks good either.
That doesn't seem right, but we got a field goal game. Raiders winning 27-24. No, we got to figure something out for the Raiders.
Well, it's not this. I can tell you that makes 0 sense.
That makes no sense.
Right? Can we vote on what thread the needle should be?
Carr's been playing great. I mean, but it's a different Raiders offense. You mentioned it's high risk, high reward. That's the opposite of how they used to be. Used to be running, heavy sets, all this stuff, throwing down the field. I think Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, they can at least slow this Raiders team down. And whenever you doubt Brian Flores, they come back with a good performance. So I think it'll be close.
Okay. I'm going with the Raiders. I got them going 26-13. Listen, I got to give the Raiders their respect. I have not done that the first 2 weeks. I am picking them.
I don't think anyone did.
Smartening up. I am no longer on meme alert Raiders fans, but now we might be for the Dolphins.
Why are they so angry, though, man?
It's okay. They're Raiders fans. They're allowed to be angry. Max Crosby, that's who I'm looking at in this one. You talk about Derek Carr playing lights out. So is Max Crosby. Leads the league in QB hits, QB pressures. He gave fits to both the Ravens and the Steelers, and that continues this week. This Dolphins O-line let up 6 sacks a week ago. Max Crosby is going to go off. All
right, all across the board, I like the Raiders as well. Let me ask you this impromptu question. Okay. If you're coming off not scoring a single point, there's a bounce back game, right? There's, you got to get your confidence back, but nothing like that must be tough to go into the next week.
Yeah, your confidence isn't riding super high.
No.
But this is the NFL, so
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the NFL.
Memories.
There's your soundbite. But listen, I think that this all kind of falls on Tua's replacement, and look at how he showed up this week. We talk about style on this show. This is a confident quarterback coming in.
I love Jacoby Brissett.
I love it, but I still like the Raiders. Sorry. Okay, let's talk individuals in proper performances. Here are the latest lines for quarterback passing yards this weekend. Let's take a look at who we got on the board. We got Patrick Mahomes. Dak Prescott gonna have a good weekend. Cynthia, what do you like? Patrick Mahomes, you got some good numbers.
So you see that 322 there. When I do the math on this one, the Chargers have allowed 85.7% completion percentage and 7.2 yards per attempt on passes under 10 air yards this season. That's both the 6th most in the NFL. That's a next-gen stat. You know how many yards Mahomes has on such throws since 2020? A cool 2,874. That's the second most in the NFL. 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, just so you know, to keep it clear on that one. And Mahomes also has 21 career games of 320-plus passing yards in his 40 48 total games. And Chris Harris Jr., he is not playing. This is going to be a better opportunity for those passing yards to accumulate.
Wow, he's gonna have fun.
That's a lot of homework to argue with when I feel like they're gonna run the ball a lot. But I'm gonna go with you. Hey,
let's
redo my
listen to
earlier segment when we get a chance.
You can do both. I think you can do both.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, let's move on to the latest lines for running back rush yards this weekend. A little Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, but you want to talk about Joe Mixon.
Ooh, you're darn right I do. Look at the difference between 84 and 61.5. That's pretty large. Mixon's averaging a career-high 98 rushing yards per game, and his 49 carries through week 2 ranked second in the NFL, just behind Derrick Henry's 52. So that's only 3 carries different. 65-plus rush yards in 13 of 16 career games with 20 or more carries, including both games he's played this season. I think Joe Mixon is a big factor for this offense, and in this specific game is going to be very. Can you see what I'm doing here? And I'm looking right at you.
Yeah, no,
What do you think about that?
Okay, I need to fix my. You said I made the wrong pick?
You're making him nervous.
I don't know who you picked yet.
Joe Mixon is one of the most fun backs in the league to watch. He reminds me of Fred Taylor a little bit. And this isn't the same Steelers defense because they're all hurt. Stephon Tuitt is still out. T.J. Watt is questionable, but not trending well. Alex Highsmith is maybe out. They get Devin Bush back, but it's kind of not the same Steelers you expect.
Yeah, Big Ben's a little wonky. All right, let's move on to wide receivers. Here are the latest lines for receiving yards this weekend. Travis Kelce is up there. We got Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley with a big day ahead, according to Cynthia.
Sure. So 85 yards forecasted in this one. If you look at the next-gen stats, Ridley leads the NFL with 1,119 receiving yards on downfield passes. Those are 10-plus air yard attempts since 2020. This season, the Giants have a 123.9 passer rating. Defending such passes, 123 that's a big number. That's why those two things match up. And by the way, that's the 6th highest in the NFL. So they're allowing a lot of yards.
They need Calvin Ridley to have a big game.
They need something.
The Falcons, they
need to throw the ball down the field. This is why Cynthia's model, to be serious, is so great because it looks back multiple years. But when I watch this Falcons team through 2 weeks, they're not throwing it deep at all. You know that Calvin Ridley can do it, though, and that Matt Ryan can do it. So it's like,
and they need to do it.
Hasn't done it.
There you go.
You know they can, though. Right,
Absolutely.
like so it'll happen. Regression works both ways.
Exactly.
She believes in them. I like that. All right, we are going to be right back after this quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Wilson from his own 15-yard line. Lobs one, left sideline. It's going to be an interception.
Last week, the Pats intercepted Zach Wilson 4 times. This week, they've got Mr. Ball Security himself, Jameis Winston. Yeesh. We are picking, no pun intended, Saints-Pats on the other side of this timeout.
NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why this week they are giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet when you make your first NFL same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay with a big payout, so lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. That sounds pretty nice.
That's a good deal.
Let's move on to this next game. We got Seahawks and Vikings. Seahawks in Minneapolis. Hopefully this one doesn't come down to a kick. Seattle favored by 2.5. Greg, what do you like?
I like the Vikings in this game. I know you're new to the show, but one of our things is we like Kirk Cousins here.
Week 3,
we like Kid Cousy. And when he's playing well, and we pointed out before he's not playing well, and he's playing really well right now. I think it's gotten lost in the first 2 weeks. He was under so much pressure against Cincinnati, and then last week not as much, played great against Arizona. The most surprising superpower, though, of any good player in the league is that Kirk Cousins is a baller throwing to his left. Almost no one can throw to their left as a quarterback that well, and yet Kirk Cousins did it. Kevin Stefanski figured it out a couple years ago. He's a little more mobile than you think.
I love that. I love the Kid Cousy reference. We haven't had it in a while. Kid Cousy is back on game debut. I'm going with the Seahawks here, 33-27.
Okay.
I mean, this is what I'm looking for the Seahawks. We heard so much from Russ about having protection and that O-line being able to give them time, and they're not playing that great. Like,
they're hurt too.
All that hoopla, all the drama for what? They're banged up, and he's still not getting the time that he needs. So I'm hoping that they turn around, and this is a week to do it. I know he's on the quest for 100. I think he has it. That's the thing that put me over the top. He's got to be hungry to get that number 100.
Cynthia, I like that. Well, I have a 1-point win. Just one
That's
point
a close
for Seattle.
game.
Yeah, 27-26 is my final in this one. When I look at this Vikings defense, yes, Danielle Hunter looked a little bit better last game, but the corners, they still seem a little bit lost. And when you've got 2 guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, who you have to kind of try to figure out, it's going to be exceptionally difficult for them to do. Again, they're very young, so I remember last year they didn't have like the regular preseason kind of thing, so they're kind of rookie pluses.
I like points here. Yeah, all the corners in this
So-
game are attackable, and I like you're trying to thread the needle here, Cynthia.
Who doesn't like a good needle threading, you know?
Now I feel like we just got to stick with the weird hand thing because
Yeah,
there's nothing
thread
else
the
that we
needle.
can figure out.
Everyone threads the needle.
I am going Vikings, same with Greg, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this was the hardest game for me to pick.
Yeah.
Like the line was at 1.5 at one point. Now it's moved out to 2.5. You think it's going to be a 1-point game? The only thing that I am sure of is that I feel like this is going to be a gunslinger game. I think it's going to be so many points. I am excited to see some firepower. I'm picking the Vikings because I loved how scrappy they were last weekend. They were fighting until the very last second, so I'm going Vikings here. Let's talk a little Saints-Pats. Jameis Winston versus Bill Belichick. What could possibly go wrong? Pats by 3 here. Hawks, what do you like?
Okay, I'm going with the Patriots, 21-17 in this one.
Okay.
Okay, so Bill Belichick over Jameis Winston.
See you later,
and I like
adios.
Jameis. I am a fan of famous Jameis, but he turns the ball over. And we watched this Pats secondary and this defense force rookie Wilson, not to be confused with Russ Wilson, into 4 interceptions. So Jameis already has a predisposition to turning the football over. So I can only imagine what they're scheming up on the Patriots side. And for that reason, I feel good about the Patriots walking away with a victory.
I kind of think like the exact sort of opposite. I was a little surprised because my model picks the Saints to win 23-21. This is how you know that, because I would have been like, if I would have just been circling it, I would circle the Patriots.
Oh, really? That's
but when
interesting.
I dug deeper into why the model forecasted that, it's actually, when you look at the Saints defense against Mac Jones, we kind of forget the magnitude of both things, right? And that Saints defense, especially now that I think only 3 of their coaches won't be able to be a part of this week instead of 8 or whatever the number was last week. But if you look at like guys like Demario Davis, guys like Malcolm Jenkins, these are nightmares for rookie quarterbacks to figure out. This is a very good defense. And by the way, Cam Jordan, he's no slouch either.
He's solid.
He's pretty good.
He's
pretty good. So when you look to see what could possibly go wrong, it's possible that Mac Jones looks a little bit more like a rookie.
I like that.
I'm a
There you
homer
go.
for the Patriots, and I'm with
that.
you. I don't think they've looked great this year.
You also are a homer for the Saints, though.
Dennis Allen, I am a little bit. Dennis Allen, so this is a tough one. And I've been a
You talk
Jameis
about
fan.
threading the needle. He
Yeah,
acts like
this
he's
is
not a
tough.
homer for a team.
It
He's
all
also a
comes
homer
out.
for
like, Dennis
Learning
Allen's
so
an
much.
underrated coordinator. They get Marshawn Lattimore back, who to me is their best player on defense now. They get C.D. Deuce back, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And yet I'm taking the Patriots because I got to go with my heart, not my head.
Go with
The
your
running
heart.
backs are back in New England. James White, vintage James White. Throw it back to like 2016 when he could have been the Super Bowl MVP. I don't know what happened, but he wasn't quite James White last year, and he's got that juice back in his legs.
feet.
And I'm telling you, Damian Harris, if you just need to pick up 4 yards and you only block 2, I don't know if there's many running backs better in the league. So it's strength on strength. A great Saints rush defense, but I think the Patriots are one of the few teams that might be able to run on them.
I'm saying forget about your head and go with your heart. And my heart
what I
is
did.
telling me to believe in the Saints defense and Jameis Winston. Can I have your permission to forgive Jameis and forget about last week? Because week 1, 5 touchdowns. Last week, he had a passer rating of like 26. I don't mean to laugh, okay? It happened.
Jameis experience.
I am all aboard the Jameis train. I think he bounces back and we see something a little closer to week 1. I realize I'm picking Jameis over the Pats defense. I get it, but I just am choosing to believe. There you go. Cynthia, let's dive deeper and do the math. What do you got?
I've got you an Alvin Kamara homework assignment.
Oh.
He's averages 6.2 yards per rush inside the tackle since 2020, second highest rate in the NFL. And when you look to see what New England does, well, they allowed 5.2 yards per rush inside the tackles this season. That's the 5th most in the NFL. So those inside rushes are a key. By the way, Kamara has had 60-plus rush yards in all 15 career games where he's had at least 14 carries. So this is an interesting one to watch because this is what keeps Jameis kind of all good, right? As long as he has more than 57.5,
Thank you for
he's
saying
very
that,
low, right?
Cynthia. Thank you.
Jameis works best when Alvin Kamara does a lot of work.
There you go. She's on my side, folks.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this next game. Washington in Buffalo. Bills favored by 7. They were really shining last weekend. Cynthia, what do you like here?
Well, when I look at this game, I look and see Bills 27, Washington 21. So it's a 6-point game.
Okay.
Pretty close to where everyone else thinks it's going to be. But I think about the return of play action. If you think what makes Josh Allen so great, it's when they get him out of harm's way. When he wasn't under pressure last season, he had like something like a 75% completion percentage. That's been down this season, which means they got to kind of get their mojo back, both of these scrambles and Josh Allen on the run and the play action. And I think Brian Daboll has just what the doctor ordered, because as good as we thought this Washington front was, they haven't been bringing us consistent pressure as we've seen. Turns out once you put a little bit more film of Chase Young on, the offensive coordinators can
Once they
scheme
start
a
to
little
figure
bit
him
around.
out. Greg?
I have the Bills winning this game easy, 30-19, because I don't know like who the Washington football team is if they're not a good defense, and they haven't been a good defense. The Bills have the best defense in this game, led by my boy Matt Milano.
Boston College.
My boy.
I don't know. I like football. You like root for the guys you like watching. This guy is flying all over
He
the
just like
football.
cool last names.
He reminds me of Navarro Bowman. Remember Navarro
Yes,
Bowman, man?
absolutely.
He could track down running backs like no one else. And now they're using Milano to rush the passer. He can play in coverage through 2 games. I know it's only 2 games, but I think he's been the best linebacker in the entire league, like going to another level. And he's part of a really good Bills defense.
Can I ask you, you love the Bills defense. Do you not want to give some love to Taylor Heineke, what we saw last week? I thought he was pretty fun to watch.
He was great.
He
He's
was
fun.
great.
He's
He
He
was
fun.
takes
great.
some good math
I think this
classes,
is going to be a little tougher.
Okay.
You gotta the subscription. You gotta keep going until you really lock in. You're still in the trial period.
Right.
with
It's like weekly.
Like,
Like,
okay,
hey,
I
you
gotcha.
send me a reminder email every week
Still
if
have
I'm
my
signing
Visa
up
number.
for Taylor. Maybe
You got
not
it.
this week.
This week, if he puts it on, then we'll all be on board. But I like the Bills to win this one handily as well. I have them 21-16, winning a 5-point win here. I'm looking at Singletary rushing against this Washington front. You talked about Chase Young. That is the matchup that is going to make the difference in this game. I expect a big game from Josh Allen as well, but I do expect this run game to get going.
Yeah, I like the Bills here, too. I just feel like not letting a team score a single point has got to be a pretty good confidence booster. Also, did you guys see that Taylor Heineke signed a deal with Bud Light instead of the obvious one?
Yeah.
I kind of like that cheekiness out of him. I like it a lot.
What's the obvious one?
Oh, yeah, there is an obvious one. He just didn't do it. All right, we are going to break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Fields going to keep it on the read option. Cutting in. He's in for the touchdown. Knifing in.
Can Justin Fields win his first start back in Ohio? Do the Steelers or Bengals get to 2-1? And will the Falcons or Giants decide to actually show up for the 2021 season? Where are you guys? Quick Picks is after this quick break.
All right, time to get to some games that we haven't talked about yet. Welcome back to Game Day View, presented by EQ. Let's take a look at some of these. Okay, we got Bears at Browns. That's what I like to see. That's not what I like to see. I don't know. What does it mean when we're all on the same one?
Well, you got it closer than us. I thought this was going to be a blowout, but you got a one-score game.
Well, with
OBJ.
Justin Fields starting, it's typically when you see a quarterback change, there's some weird things that the defense has to adjust to. So the weird things means that it's often closer. So the quarterback performs well. Like, you even actually saw it in the beginning of the Thursday night game. Davis Mills did confuse the Panthers defense for at least a half, so that keeps things a bit closer.
The Browns D's been a little shaky.
How dare you? Yeah. OBJ good this weekend?
OBJ's great this weekend, and weirdly, the Browns are kind of had a good practice week against the Texans last week for Justin Fields, right? With Tyrod.
Okay.
I like OBJ being like, we'll see if I play. I like him saying that.
I like the mystery. I do. All right, next game, we got Giants favored by 3 over the Falcons. Dirty Birds going to 0-3 according to Wallama.
Ooh, if there's any Falcons fans left that have heart still, and they do if they're around at this point, they should hook us up with some meme alert here, because this is disrespectful. No one's picking you against the Giants.
I definitely think it's going to be a game where you could play Daniel Jones in fantasy.
Yes.
But I also think that Kyle Pitts has his first touchdown, which is going to be fun for Falcons fans.
I remember my first touchdown because I played in the NFL, guys.
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
Just
it's taking a little while to bring it in.
I haven't mentioned that in a while. Also, how have we changed this segment to meme alert already?
Okay.
Meme alert.
Just producers, just kick that around back there.
Okay. Let's move on to this next one. I don't think we're all on the same side for Bengals-Steelers. Steelers favored by 3. Hawk, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that
Switch your pick.
Immediately regret.
Switch your pick.
The meme alert.
Switch your pick. I don't know. Let's do it. Can you do that? Can they react?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to do it.
I want to be by myself on this one.
I was unsure
in our
because
meeting
I
this
think
morning.
Joe Burrow, he's an incredible quarterback, and when incredible quarterbacks have bad games, they have huge bounce back games. So I think he is going to ball out this week, but I still have to give the edge to Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's please all be on one side, where your side is the Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Give that to me, please.
I mean, look, I think that it's all about the big plays, and I think Jamar Chase, big playmaker. T. Higgins, big playmaker.
Mixon.
Joe Mixon, big playmaker.
Hold on.
The model, I was surprised by the model
I was
here.
actually a bit surprised as well. But it's not disrespect. There's a lot of injuries in this game.
Bengals defense is playing really well this year.
And
so you're choosing to trust in Big Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
The model was no, it wasn't. I'm not that model. I wasn't that model. I have my own model. My model.
So Hawk, this is the pick that you're stealing with, or that you're stealing with.
Stealing with.
Sticking with.
Stealing this one.
Like what you did there.
You're stealing this one. We're locking it in. Okay, let's move on to the next one. AFC South clash in Indy. Carson Wentz. What is going on with this man and his magical body? I don't know.
Magical is a good.
Well, how is it working? I don't know. Anyways, we're all on the Titans. What do you guys think about this one?
I moved the score closer when I heard that Carson Wentz is a game-time decision.
Yes.
He did practice on a limited basis on Friday. That's a surprise. They've moved the ball pretty well on offense. So if these games always come down to the end when they got their quarterbacks, but if it's like Brett Hundley, no, I'm not.
And you seem to think that he's going to play because he's practicing.
I'm guessing, yeah. If you give me the Brett Hundley, Jacob Eason combination, no, I'm taking 6 points away.
So you moved it closer thinking he might be out, or you're thinking if he
Wentz
plays,
gives him some points.
Better with Wentz.
Pretty well this year.
Better with Wentz.
Gotcha.
Wentz has been very helpful. I don't think he's going to play. It seems very odd. I would obviously switch it a little bit differently. I don't think that the Colts come back and win this one because I don't know if you play a full game. It seems that has been the dicey question, right? But I do think that Carson Wentz is definitely worth some points. So if this is one where I feel very uncertain because I don't know who's playing.
Yeah.
So once we know, then
check back Sunday.
Check back in. We'll be tweeting about it. Okay, on to some other games we didn't get to. We are all going with the Cardinals by more than 7.5 over the Jags. Urban Meyer may be on USC's campus by the time this one's over.
I like that Hawk gives those college scores. He's the only one that gives the realistic blowout scores because it does happen.
Wow, 41-17?
Yeah, it's indicative to what I think about where these are. Yes, I think it's a big win.
No receiver right now has had more yards of separation than Rondale Moore. Just so everyone knows.
Ravens at Lions, we've all got Baltimore. Some injuries there. Hawk, why does this one stay close in your opinion?
Because of the injuries. They actually teed it up for me. A lot of injuries there.
Oh, wow.
Big emotional win, too, right? Like, they had to give everything they had for last week's win, and I think that's a big deal.
Okay, they'll fall off a little bit. And finally, we are all going with the Broncos over the Jets. The real question is, does Vic Fangio get 5 picks out of Zach Wilson this week?
Oh. That's mean. 10.5 points is a lot of points, though. This Jets defense has played, I think, pretty well considering their personnel. If you just watch that Jets-Pats game, they look kind of like even teams if you just threw away those 4 interceptions.
You know what's kind of weird? I think like Michael Carter, who he's a rookie, and there's 2 UNC rookies matching up in this one. But Michael Carter looked pretty good last week. If you have to say one thing about, look, it was not a great outing for Zach Wilson, but remember, once you throw the 2 picks, you got to kind of keep chasing them because the game script is then more high risk. So it does. I kind of throw that result out, but I will say Michael Carter in the run game looks good.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back after this break.
Rodgers looking, waiting, sends it out left side. Aaron Jones wide open to the end zone. Touchdown!
All right, game picks are out of the way, but what about totals for the biggest games of Week 3? We are predicting the points for Bucs-Rams, Packers-Niners, and a lot more after this timeout.
Reset the tempo from the get-go. Stop the gas, you don't let off. She's open, 1, 2, 3.
Mahomes moving to his right, pass is caught. Kelsey still on the move at the 10, all the way into the end zone.
He gives the ball. Kareem Hunt leaps up and over. He's in. They got 2.
56 for the win. Kick on the way. Kick is good, and the Cowboys win.
Now he looks. Now he throws back. It's Tyler Lockett. They're not going to touch him. Touchdown.
It's time for Predict the Points presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's take a look at some of this week's point totals, and we will tell you if these games will have more or less. Bucs at Rams, more or less than 55.5 points. That's high. Greg, what do you think?
These 2 offenses are playing much better than the 2 defenses. Also, I won the raffle at work for 2 tickets to this game.
Whoa.
I got to work, though. I didn't really think.
What do you want for
Wow.
I'm giving them a
You'll be able to
but
see
I'm rooting for points. Points are more fun.
You'll be able to see some
producer
really
is
good
asking.
stats in person.
Producer Tan is saying, producer, please, just give it to your producer. Packers, 49ers, more or less than 48.5. I feel like this number's been jumping around a little bit. I'm gonna go less. Hawk, more. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going more. This is the 2 Shanahan offenses together, and I don't think that LaFleur is going to get the better of Shanahan, but I do think there's going to be a lot of points involved.
You guys both changed your picks. I believe you were both on more, and you're now less. What's going on?
I think the thing moved, and my pick stayed the same.
Right.
thing
The
moved.
number
The line
moved.
moved. Yeah.
That 49ers. I'm all about that 49ers.
It moved, and now I'm changing my answer. All right, let's move on to this next game. Seahawks at Vikings, more or less than
54.5 points to the moon. Cynthia, Les?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit more running than we think, so meaning fewer possessions. It's not a bad thing. It just means that both Chris Carson and Dalvin Cook are going to have monster days. So
Points.
Big day for
it's good. It's not a bad thing. This is
The cornerbacks in this game, not good matchups.
No. All right, let's keep it moving. We got Chargers at Chiefs. 54.5 is pretty high. We're all going more. Cynthia,
to the moon.
Cynthia, again, you changed your pick. Why? The thing you moved?
I didn't change anything. Everything else just
It's not
moved.
personal.
So-
They're just not accusing.
Why can't you make a decision?
I just want to know.
What is it about you?
Was there a weird, did you find something out?
Listen, I don't make the lines for them. I make the line for me, and their line moves, so my line stay the same. So I'm just believing in my model, right?
Put it at 60. These Justin
Put it at
Herbert,
60.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Move it up.
Whoop,
The
whoop.
line is wrong. That's what it is.
Some firepower this weekend, baby. Eagles at Cowboys, more or less than 51.5 points. I don't feel sure about this, but I'm going under. Actually, I've gone to you every single time, and you're getting mad at me. So, Greg,
definitely not.
Greg, why?
Now that I'm thinking about it, I might want to change. Can I change it midway
Oh.
through?
No,
Who are
you
you,
can't change
Hawk?
the graphic.
Who are you, Cynthia?
I think it's in the next
No, you
segment
can't.
as
No.
under.
This is a home game. I feel like it could be really exciting, but
They changed it for
I'm
me.
gonna go
I think the running games, that's why, though. I really do think the running games are going to slow this game down and some field goals in the red zone, and you don't get as many.
And the Cowboys defense was looking
I think what happened is last week we saw kind of not high scores from either of these teams. So your last memory of it is both very low. So I think it's just going to be more than what we
So you're just saying, like, I'm really basic and simple.
I'm saying you're
Yeah.
basic.
Mine isn't.
Are you
No,
basically
I'm
like
saying,
I'm saying
recency
Why are you making this
bias.
choice?
I'm saying recency bias and
I'm
truth
definitely.
line.
I am definitely. Yep.
No.
Nope. Okay. All right. We're going to be right back after this break. Don't go anywhere. Don't. We'll find out.
He stands in, delivers to the goal line, and it's caught for a touchdown. Matthew Stafford goes 5 for 5 on the opening drive. Touchdown, LA!
Open up that notes app because we've got some knowledge headed your way. The stuff you need to jot down for week 3 after this break, and write this down.
Back on Game Day View, and it's time for Drive to Excellence, presented by Mercedes EQ. Here's a look at what happened in week 2. I'm just going to stay at the bottom of the barrel to make you guys look good. I feel like that's what a good host does. You know, I just want to sacrifice myself.
I did that last year, so yeah, it comes along with the role.
Okay,
so.
overall standings through week 2. Look at you guys.
Crowns. They call that the king and queen, Rick, so that's what that's called.
Top. Who's feeling more confident going into this weekend? Cynthia, you feel good?
There were some things that really surprised me, like the Saints, and I mean, I got a few in there that I'm like, wow,
yeah.
Okay.
I got my shots in at Cynthia while we could for like 1 week, and now she's got that crown back.
It'll go back and forth.
All right, finally, it is time for the stuff to actually remember from this show and write this down. I am going to go first. My favorite choice for this weekend, Seahawks and Vikings will combine for more than 54.5 points. I really want this to be a fireworks kind of game, and the defense just takes the day off. Hawk, what do you like?
I like it. My write this down is in the same game. I'm going with Dalvin Cook to rush for over 100 yards. Reason being, Seattle is second in the most rushing yards through 2 weeks. Cook has been balling.
That'll happen when you play Derrick Henry.
That will happen, and when you play Dalvin Cook. So 100 yards.
Oh, they were balling last week. I love this Vikings run game.
I like that one a lot, too. So mine is, and you're going to write this down, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have more than 72.5 scrimmage yards.
Okay.
Why? Well, when you look to see what Andy Reid does when, after a mistake, right? So he fumbled. So what's going to happen? He's going to have him run the air out of the football, get his legs back. And Andy Reid has a lot of data, so this is a good math one for you.
I am suggesting to write down the pick I changed in the last block. I believe in it so much that I am saying the Cowboys and the Eagles will combine less than 51 points. Similar to your Chiefs' reasoning, though. I really do think both of these running games will get it going on Sunday, but there won't be a lot of passing, a lot of scoring, and I think it ends up being underneath. Eagles' defense is good.
Let me ask you this, guys. What is the winner? You know, we're just talking about the standings here. I'm new to this show.
Yeah.
What does the winner get?
Well,
that football right there?
I thought you were pointing to the gigantic bowl of salad.
And the salad.
I was like, I'm out.
Any money?
I want season 1.
I got nothing.
Greg's tickets this weekend. How about that? Guys, we will see you next Friday on Game Day View. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you soon. Toodles.